Good evening. I'm Ellison Barber. You have been listening to a joint press conference at the White House between President Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The two leaders now exiting the room there. They were discussing the situation in Gaza, including who would control the enclave and the possibility of relocating Palestinians as Gaza is rebuilt. Trump saying that the United States will, quote, take over the Gaza Strip. He went on to say, we will own it, calling it a place of death and destruction. He was asked by NBC's Kelly O'Donnell at one point about the possibility of the U.S. taking over a sovereign territory, and he told her, I do see a long-term ownership, calling it a decision that has not been made lightly. When asked by another reporter if the United States should send troops into Gaza, he said, we will do what is necessary. If necessary, we will. For more on this, I want to bring in NBC News senior White House correspondent Kelly O'Donnell. Kelly, pick things up for me. Walk through what you have heard in that room and the response you got from President Trump as you asked him that question about the sovereignty of Gaza.
Well, it's an extraordinary unfolding of events, and rarely, if ever, in my long career covering, this is my fifth administration, have I heard such an unusual policy shift articulated by a president standing side by side with another leader that could dramatically change world events. The president is saying, without explanation for what the legal method would be, that the United States of America would take over Gaza. That is a sovereign territory right now. How would that happen? He did not suggest that this would be by military force. He talked about rehabilitation, rebuilding, construction, and then making it a world city. I also asked the prime minister, who, of course, has at times been very careful. He's been going through a war, of course, but one of his primary goals is to bring peace to his people. But he has also lived through many discussions of a two-state solution where Palestinians and Israelis could live side by side in peace. He seemed open to the idea of adopting President Trump's unusual, in fact, unprecedented idea to take over Gaza. Now, we're still processing all of this. When you think about the other implications, for example, when the United States went into Iraq in 2003, which was the result of the 9/11 bombing and other activities, first Afghanistan, then Iraq. The United States having occupation in Iraq also spawned a lot of terrorism against the United States. There were certainly views of Saudi Arabians that the United States should not be in that part of the world in an occupying way. So there are so many levels of foreign policy, potential conflicts, new questions from this. But basically what Prime Minister Netanyahu is saying, this is a fresh new idea that should be considered. President Trump saying this could be, and these are his words, the Riviera of the Middle East by having reconstruction, safety, and many questions about the displacement of Gazans right now. Where would they go? And he talked about neighboring countries like Jordan and Egypt and building new communities there for safety. But again, this is the forced relocation of Palestinians. So there is just so much here that we are just beginning to try to process this. Clearly, the president wants to shake things up. This suggestion, this policy idea is going to have reverberations around the world. It's a stunning moment here in the East Room.
And Kelly, I was struck by when another reporter asked him about if the United States would consider sending troops there to secure the power vacuum. The president leaving that door open, saying if it is necessary. Is that something that had been discussed or talked about at all prior to this moment? The idea that we could, in some form or fashion, possibly be considering having some sort of military presence, not just near Gaza, but possibly inside of that territory?
No, it has not been talked about. And in fact, when the October 7th attacks happened, it was made very clear from Israel to the United States that Israelis would fight for their land with the support of the United States. And there's been significant military support. But there was never discussion. This is not a NATO situation with Article 5, where when there is attack on Israel, the United States with troops would go there. So we are in new terrain in geopolitics. And President Trump, a couple of weeks in office, in his second term, is talking about a really extraordinary idea that challenges the legal authority of the United States and its ability to do this. Certainly will have implications for all of the countries in that area, and very much so for the people of Israel as well as the Palestinians who have endured the war along with the Israelis. There's been a lot of death and a lot of destruction. So what comes next? We have many more questions. But the president put this forward. He repeated it. He worked it out in real time. And clearly, Benjamin Netanyahu is supportive, at least at this stage, of further consideration of what is, again, an extraordinary idea put forth by the United States and President Trump.
I mean, a stunning press conference and moment in so many ways in terms of this idea of relocating Palestinians from Gaza as it is being rebuilt. President Trump saying other neighboring wealthy countries could participate and pay for that. Kelly, correct me if I'm wrong, but last I saw it, it was just 3 days ago, there was a letter, a joint statement that was released from officials from Egypt, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Qatar, the Palestinian Authority, and the Arab League, where they rejected the idea of moving Palestinians out of Gaza, saying that it would threaten the region's stability and risk expanding the conflict and undermine prospects for peace. Has any country publicly said that they would be willing to take in Palestinians in the immediate future, or publicly said they would support this idea of resettling Palestinians from Gaza?
Well, this is part of what has been the long and at times desperate story of the Palestinian people. Other Arab and Muslim nations in the region have not embraced the Palestinian people and helped them at many times. And these other nations are not stepping forward. So basically what we've seen is President Trump using a live event like this side by side with Benjamin Netanyahu to put forward this idea. Now, not on phone calls, not on ministerial level conversations, but to put it out there as the President of the United States on the world stage and to see what sticks. You heard him say that he believes that other nations like Egypt, like Jordan, would be providing land, would be open to doing that in further conversations. The King of Jordan is coming to the White House. We are in a moment here where we are on the fly. That is not a place where I'm typically comfortable. Normally, we are steeped in these issues and know the way around the corners. This is such a stunning announcement that we are processing it as we speak. And in the cacophony of all of my colleagues here who are also reporting on this, what has been a stunning turn of events here in the East Room.
Well, Kelly O'Donnell, we appreciate you being there to help guide us through this moment. We will stay on top of it and continue to check in with you as we get our head around what has happened here tonight. Kelly O'Donnell at the White House, thank you. We appreciate it. I will remind viewers, May 14th is when Israel celebrates their Independence Day, but May 15th, the day after that, Palestinians call it Nakba Day. It means the catastrophe in Arabic. They see it as a somber day of remembrance when they say in 1948 they lost the Palestinian state and a lot of their culture and were forced to leave what they say are their lands. Stay with us on this historic evening. We will be right back. We're back with more breaking news tonight. President Trump and his administration taking drastic steps to reshape the government. Tech billionaire Elon Musk, tasked by Trump to reduce the federal budget, now taking aggressive steps to dismantle agencies. And that move, it is sparking chaos and backlash. NBC's chief White House correspondent Peter Alexander has this report.
Tonight, 2 weeks after returning to office pledging to take a wrecking ball to Washington, President Trump is pushing back against new attacks on his efforts and those of billionaire Elon Musk to reshape the federal government.
He's done a great job. Look at all the fraud that he's found.
But tonight, top Democrats are sounding the alarm that Musk and his lieutenants are going too far.
The American people will not stand for an unelected, secret group to run rampant through the executive branch. Being innovative is good. But, Mr. Musk, this isn't a tech startup. These are public institutions.
Musk, who vowed to slash $2 trillion from the budget, runs the Department of Government Efficiency that is not a government agency. But his team has already gained access to closely held data systems.
There's already been really tremendous progress. We've, a rough estimate is that there's at least a few $1 billion a day of savings.
One of those cost-cutting efforts sharply reducing the federal workforce by offering a buyout to federal workers. A senior administration official tonight telling NBC News more than 20,000 federal employees have accepted the offer so far. But many federal workers are furious at the pace and the scope of the president's changes.
I am angry. I am seething.
Speaking at a town hall in Virginia overnight.
My colleagues are getting 15-minute one-on-one check-ins with 19, 20, and 21-year-old college graduates asking to justify their existence. One of Musk's top lieutenants and his wife and young child have shacked up on the 6th floor of our agency and are living there.
Today, President Trump praising Musk, including his move to dismantle the U.S. Agency for International Development, which distributes and delivers foreign aid, arguing much of its more than $40 billion budget is wasteful.
Money going to all sorts of groups that shouldn't deserve to get any money.
But the agency's supporters say it's a vital mission. Still, leading Republicans strongly back Musk's moves.
I told him to continue the effort because it's really important for us to restore fiscal sanity to Washington.
Farm industry groups and nonprofit organizations tell NBC News that the Trump administration's mission to upend USAID is paralyzing efforts to distribute essential food and medicine and other life-saving supplies around the world. That's happening despite the administration's claim that life-saving humanitarian assistance would be allowed to continue to flow. Shipping containers, we've learned, packed with life-saving antibiotics, anti-malarial drugs are sitting in limbo at the port of Sudan. Millions of pounds of American-grown soybeans that were bound for refugee camps overseas, we've learned, are being diverted to warehouses instead. And separately on the topic of the Department of Education, the president says that he told his Secretary of Education nominee that he would like her to put herself out of a job. He wants to follow through on a campaign pledge to get rid of the Department of Education, saying that the states should handle all of it themselves. But, of course, getting rid of an agency would require Congress's approval. Back to you.
Peter Alexander, thank you. As President Trump implements his mass deportation plans, the White House confirming the first flights carrying undocumented migrants from the U.S. to Guantanamo Bay are underway. This, as Secretary of State Marco Rubio says he is reviewing an offer from the president of El Salvador to deport not only immigrants, but also American prisoners to a mega prison in the South American country. NBC News correspondent David Noriega has this.
On Secretary of State Marco Rubio's whirlwind tour of Latin America, a potentially unprecedented offer from the president of El Salvador.
He has agreed to accept for deportation any illegal alien in the United States who is a criminal from any nationality, be they MS-13 or Tren de Aragua, and house them in his jails.
President Nayib Bukele revealing more in a post on X, offering the U.S., quote, the opportunity to outsource part of its prison system in exchange for a fee. And it's not just for people who are in the U.S. illegally.
He has offered to house in his jails dangerous American criminals in custody in our country, including those of U.S. citizenship and legal residence. No country's ever made an offer of friendship such as this.
But that offer, especially to take U.S. citizens, raising major concerns.
It's a non-starter to talk about deporting U.S. citizens. It's point blank unlawful.
Unless someone has committed a crime abroad, extensive constitutional and legal protections exist to prevent that in most cases. And for citizens of other countries apprehended here, regulations are still in place.
They have to follow the very strict requirements Congress has laid out, which means an agreement between the U.S. and El Salvador, but also an absolute guarantee that those individuals will be safe in El Salvador from danger, persecution, and torture.
Rubio today acknowledging it's unclear if such an action would be legal.
Obviously, we'll have to study it on our end. There are obviously legalities involved. We have a constitution. We have all sorts of things, but it's a very generous offer.
That offer would put convicted criminals in President Bukele's notorious mega prison, known as the Terrorism Confinement Center. built by Bukele to house alleged members of gangs that had once helped make El Salvador one of the most dangerous countries in the world. It has become a symbol of his crackdown on crime. That crackdown has swept up 80,000 people and enjoyed public support.
Los niños hoy van a las escuelas sin sus padres, caminan seguros con la seguridad que van a regresar a sus casas y no van a ser secuestrados por los pandilleros.
That mega prison, the size of 7 football stadiums, with a capacity to hold 40,000 prisoners. Movements are tightly controlled. No mattresses are offered. Prisoners spend all but 30 minutes per day in packed cells. The State Department under President Biden called prison conditions in the country harsh and life-threatening. But President Trump tonight doubling down on his willingness to consider the offer.
It's no different than a prison system, except it would be a lot less expensive, and it would be a great deterrent. Send them to other countries. No, we'll have to find that out legally. I'm just saying, if we had the legal right to do it, I would do it in a heartbeat.
Ellison, we know there are at least 2 military flights that have transported migrants from the mainland U.S. to the naval base on Guantanamo Bay. We know that one of those military flights left Fort Bliss in Texas with 10 migrants aboard. The White House is characterizing the migrants in question as, in their words, quote, the worst of the worst, in some ways, in some instances characterizing them as gang members. However, we don't know for sure who these people are or what crimes exactly they have been accused or convicted of committing. And indeed, the reason this move is raising alarm among some advocates and others is because Guantanamo is known for its lack of transparency, lack of due process, lack of things such as access to counsel. However, the Trump administration has said that it intends to follow due process with the migrants it is detaining on Guantanamo Bay. Ellison?
David Noriega, thank you. Still ahead tonight, China hitting back, issuing retaliatory tariffs against the United States. What the escalating trade war could mean for your wallet. Stay with us. Next tonight, the latest in the Trump administration's trade war. China announcing tariffs targeting the United States in response to the new fees placed on imports from China. NBC News senior business correspondent Christine Romans has the details and more on what consumers should expect.
At the stroke of midnight, China retaliated. Just as President Trump's new 10% tariffs on goods coming in from China went into effect, Beijing announced its own tariffs on imports from the U.S. 15% on coal and liquefied natural gas, 10% on crude oil, farm machinery, and certain cars and trucks.
It's fine. We're going to do very well against China and against everybody else.
China's response won't take effect until Monday and targets an estimated $14 billion worth of U.S. goods. The delay and relatively symbolic dollar amount suggesting the potential for a deal. NBC's Janice Mackey-Freyer is in Beijing.
That China's allowing some time for negotiation and showing the multiple ways that they can hit back suggests Beijing is trying to make a point here that China can dig into and won't back down from President Trump.
The White House says the new tariffs are because of the deadly drugs pouring into the U.S.
That was the reason for this tariff. It was a retaliatory tariff on China for the last 4 years of their unprecedented distribution of fentanyl into our nation's borders.
President Trump today saying he'll speak with China's President Xi, but gave no timeline.
We'll speak to him at the appropriate time. I'm in no rush.
After speaking yesterday with the leaders of Canada and Mexico, Trump paused the 25% tariffs he had announced for those countries. But for China, tariffs are now in effect and likely to be felt by almost all Americans. China responsible for 1/3 of the active ingredients in medicines sold in the U.S. and dominant in personal electronics, accounting for 78% of smartphones, 79% of laptops, and 87% of video game consoles sold in the U.S.
It's going to make it even more expensive. And
Tonight, many small business owners like Cheryl Mosey, who imports handbags from China, are left struggling with uncertainty as well.
Yes, added tariffs will really shut me down. I cannot afford to pay an additional 10% on top of what I'm already paying. It's just not feasible.
And Christine joins us now on set. So in terms of China, retaliatory tariffs, not the only thing they've done, right?
That's right. It's so interesting. There's an antitrust probe into Google. China and Google have had a complicated history for some time. But what really got a lot of attention were these further export controls on 5 very important rare earth minerals. These are things you need to put in a gyroscope of a helicopter and satellite systems. You need them in your defense. You need them in infrared missiles. You need them in things that the United States wants to have control over those sorts of ingredients. And this is China, I think, showing its clout. The U.S. has already been sort of sourcing away from China on these important national security strategic minerals for some time. But I think this is China saying, by the way, we do have leverage here.
And with the deals we've seen with Canada and Mexico, does that mean as long as everything stays the way it is now at the end of this 30 days, people won't be impacted by tariffs at all?
We just don't know. And that's the uncertainty. I've been talking to business owners in the U.S., especially small business owners who are like, wait a minute, are my costs going to go up from Mexico and Canada at the end of the month? How am I supposed to plan for the next month or 2 months after that if I'm not sure? So that uncertainty is still there. And the president has been using tariffs for fentanyl. He's been using them to resource U.S. jobs. He's been using them to sort of force countries to take back migrants if he wants. He's using it for a lot of different reasons. Our Garrett Hake called it he hit the best. He said it was a Swiss Army knife for the president. Tariffs are a Swiss Army knife, and we've never really seen that before. He uses them for everything. So in 30 days, we're not sure if he'll have moved on from fentanyl and then be focusing on trade imbalances and say he wants to fix trade imbalances. And so really holding Canada and Mexico's feet to the fire.
Christine Romans, thank you. When we come back, the alarming rise in young people addicted to nitrous oxide, the loophole making it easier to get their hands on the drug, and one woman's dire warning after thinking she would never walk again. Turning now to a disturbing drug trend, a legal substance being used in all of the wrong ways to get high. You might have heard of whippets. It's also known as laughing gas or nitrous oxide. Now, with bigger sizes and fruity flavors, abuse of the gas is climbing to dangerous new levels. Reporting by New York Magazine and others shedding light on the rise in popularity. NBC's Valerie Castro spoke to one young woman who says she was using more than 10 tanks a day and has her message to the companies putting these products on shelves.
This was Jenna Comble a little more than a year ago, relearning how to walk after she says her addiction to nitrous oxide, which she started using when she was 19, left her temporarily paralyzed.
It was so addicting that even after I got paralyzed and I was in the hospital and I couldn't walk, I still wanted it. I still was seeking out the nitrous.
The 25-year-old now back on her feet and warning of the drug's dangers and the way it's being sold.
They're all marketed as like they're for making whipped cream, which is just not, that's not the case.
Commonly known as whippets, the small cartridges also used in culinary-grade whipped cream dispensers have been around for years.
Better known as laughing gas, and is widely abused by teenagers who inhale it for a quick high.
As well as their abuse.
You get euphoric side effects, hallucinations sometimes, in high quantities over a long period of time. You can develop things that are really dangerous, like a vitamin B12 deficiency, which can affect your neurological system.
But what's changed is the way they're being packaged and marketed, says Ben Mushlin, clinical director of a New York drug and alcohol treatment center.
It's being sold in containers with a much higher volume than usual little whippet containers. And they're also being sold with flavors, which seems to be really directed and targeted towards adolescents and young adults.
Poison Control says there was a 58% increase in reported intentional exposures from 2023 to 2024. A quick search online and there are a variety of brands and countless flavors like cranberry mango, cookies and cream, and pink lemonade. One brand even called Baking Bad, the labeling similar to the popular TV show Breaking Bad, where characters were involved in the methamphetamine drug trade. And the brand Galaxy Gas featured prominently in this music video by rapper Rude Kays for his song Whip It. The troubling trend prompting Grammy winner SZA to post on X is no one going to talk about how Galaxy Gas came out of nowhere and is being mass marketed to black children. NBC News reached out to the makers of Galaxy Gas, Whippets, Baking Bad, Monster Gas, and Cosmic Gas for a comment and did not hear back. Rude Case also did not respond to requests for comment. Many brands state the gas is meant for culinary use, sometimes warning that it's not to be inhaled.
It says on the bottle that you're not supposed to inhale it. But why would they make it flavored if, if that was the case?
Campbell says the warning labels didn't stop her from using it on a daily basis, buying the tanks at her local gas station.
At the height of it, at the worst of it, how often were you using?
So I was using, they have these like really big tanks like this. I was using throughout the day 10 to 16 full tanks to where they would be empty.
With the advocacy of Campbell and others, last year Louisiana became the first state in the country to ban the sale of nitrous oxide in stores to the general public.
You can see the canister that's here before you. That would be over 22,000 servings of whipped cream if that's really what they wanted to do. But that's not what they're doing. They're hooking our people on drugs.
In New York, it is illegal to sell the gas to anyone under the age of 21. California law makes it a misdemeanor to possess the gas with the intent to inhale it and get high. But the substance itself, which is also used as a medical sedative, hasn't been outlawed.
Nitrous oxide remains legal in the United States because there are so many legitimate uses that don't correlate to the abuse.
Still, there have been deadly and legal consequences. In St. Louis, a driver high on the gas in 2020 passed out behind the wheel and crashed into a building, killing 25-year-old Marissa Pollitt, according to local police.
Don't let him leave. There's a witness that saw him throw some whippet bottles, like air dusters. All right.
A jury awarding Pollitt's family $745 million in a wrongful death suit, placing the blame not only on the driver, but also the manufacturer of the brand he inhaled and the local chain of smoke shops where it was sold.
There's no reason why this stuff needs to be in head shops, smoke shops, and my daughter had to die for that.
Campbell hoping her own story serves as a warning to others and puts pressure on the companies making the product.
Do you think there should be consequences for people that manufacture this in those larger quantities, in those different flavors?
Yes, 100%, because I fully believe that they know what they're doing. And, selling drugs is illegal. So why do these corporations get to make this under a false pretense that it's like for whipped cream,
And Valerie Castro joins us now in studio. I mean, you mentioned in that report that there is a legitimate use for this, right? Medical, for sedation, and then also it's used for culinary purposes. But I mean, we saw that lawmaker hold that can up and say it'd be, 22,000 things of whipped cream. Why is it possible at all to buy this inside of a gas station? Why isn't it regulated like, say, some medicines are, where it's like you have to go to the pharmacy, even if it's over the counter, and ask for it behind?
So it is regulated by the Food and Drug Administration. It is considered both a drug and a food additive. And as you mentioned, when it is used as a drug, say at the dentist office as laughing gas or a sedative, the FDA does require it to be administered by a qualified medical professional. And in short, small doses under medical supervision, it is considered safe.
All right, Valerie Castro, thank you so much. We appreciate it. And thank you for watching Top Story. I'm Ellison Barber in New York for Tom Llamas. Stay right there. More news is on the way.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.